Yesterday we started hearing introduction to Srimad Bhagavad Gita by Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur. We heard that Vedas are very vast and many processes are described there, but they can be grouped into three: karma, jnana, and bhakti, where karma is spoken of as the highest or jnana as the highest. It means they want to produce faith for those who are eligible for this, but in reality bhakti is the highest. It is the ultimate. By karma one can elevate himself materially in this world and in heavenly planets. By jnana one can attain salvation, liberation from material bondage, and he will get relief from material suffering, but no positive bliss, transcendental bliss, which one can get by the service of Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, which is bhakti. When karma assists and aims at bhakti, then it also becomes bhakti. When jnana assists and aims at bhakti, it also becomes bhakti. But if it is separated, then it is unnatural for jiva soul. And there are two conditions of jiva: liberated, where she is in prema with Bhagavan, and bondage due to aversion. Then all these things are happening. Although it is not an easy task for a fallen soul to determine it in his conditioned state, means prema, yet it is clearly understandable and realizable by those who have acquired a firm and loyal confidence in the Supreme Lord, means firm faith, and who discuss the principle of bhakti with a relishing temperament, bereft of fruitless, controversial arguments. So one who acquires faith by past sukriti, then he can understand about devotion that will be revealed in his heart, that natural function, and it will be revealed more and more to pure, means full revelation. There are two kinds of devotion: vis kevala, means unmixed or single-minded, and pradhani bhuta, predominating mixed devotion. Unmixed or unadulterated devotion is independent and devoid of the least tinge of karma and jnana. This kind of bhakti is otherwise known as pure love, or undeviated confidential service, or single-minded devotion, or akinchana bhakti, means without any desire, separate desire, or akinchana, like our Bharati Maharaj used to quote Srila Vishvanath Thakur. Akinchana means aum, like om, aum. A means Vishnu. So one who desires only Vishnu, he is akinchan. No any other desire. This is one meaning. Another meaning is no any desire. Mixed devotion is of three kinds. Viz: devotion mixed with karma, devotion mixed with jnana, and devotion mixed with karma, kam jnana, kum jnana, si uma. Karma, then si uma jnana, means both or one. A predominating mixed devotion is that devotion in which bhakti predominates over karma and jnana, that is to say, in which karma and jnana play a subordinate part. But where there is no such subordination or dependence of karma and jnana to bhakti, but where bhakti plays a subservient part to karma and jnana, there karma and jnana remain apart from each other and cannot be said to have any relation with bhakti. So, karma, jnana and bhakti are distinct and separate from one another and are therefore philosophically different in character. Like someone worships Supreme Lord, but forgetting worldly elevation. That is, bhakti is subordinate to karma. Someone worshipping Supreme Lord to get liberation, then bhakti also is subordinate. But if karma assists, like one will maintain his body by varnashram dharma and offer everything for the service of Krishna and do Shravan Kirtan, then their karma is subordinate, subservient. Or jnana, vairagya, all this, if it is utilized for improvement of service of Krishna, then that will be, devotion will have upper hand. So all three are different and depends how they are utilized. The Gita consists of 18 chapters, of which the first 6 chapters deal with karma yoga, the second 6 chapters with bhakti yoga, and the third 6 chapters with jnana yoga, ultimately pointing out the super excellence of bhakti yoga, which is the most confidential principle and is therefore inserted in the middle to serve as the vital principle of, and as such, the consummation of karma yoga and jnana yoga. Such pure and unadulterated devotion to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is the ultimate end of the Gita, of which the last shloka, this one, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja, constituting the nucleus of the whole text of the Gita, declares Sharanagati, or unconditional self-surrender to the Absolute Person Shri Krishna, as the first and the foremost step to enter into the blissful realm of the Supreme Lord. It is the quintessence of all the teachings of the Gita. It exhorts the abandonment of all man-made ethics and religions of the world and the taking of absolute shelter under the lotus feet of Shri Krishna and Shri Krishna alone, the Lord of all love, all beauty, all truth, and all harmony. Readers, please read the text with the Sanskrit annotation, means like commentary, of Srila Vishvanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is in Bhaktivinod Thakur's introduction, but this Srila Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj, he added now. As you read Vishvanath Chakravarti Thakur and the Gauriya annotated translation of Srila Thakur Bhaktivinod, of which this is an English rendering, this he added. Means Bhaktivinod Thakur in his introduction mentioned only Vishvanath Chakravarti Thakur, but he mentioned Bhaktivinod Thakur also. Now further Bhaktivinod Thakur saying, you read with an unbiased and regardful heart, and then shall you be able to comprehend the primary and esoteric meaning of the Gita and attain the highest end of human life. Means unbiased and regardful, with respect, with regard, with faith, with regardful heart, then shall you be able to comprehend the primary and esoteric meaning of the Gita and attain the highest end of human life. Like Gurudev told, only one who surrendered to Krishna, who entered into the heart of Krishna, he can understand what Krishna meant to say. Outside persons cannot know. So if one will try by his intellect or without submission, then it is impossible to understand. That is why so many false commentaries and explanations are there, pointing to other things. But one who, like Arjuna, submits to Krishna and hears with surrender, then only he can understand what is the meaning of Gita and what Krishna wants us to do. Unfortunately, all the annotations and translations of the Gita in different languages are themed more or less with the theory of undifferentiated monism. Annotations and translations based on purely devotional cult have not yet been published. Commentaries of the monistic school on the Gita are purely impersonal and non-devotional in character. The annotations of Srila Sridhar Swami, though completely free from impersonal monism, smacks of Shuddha non-dualism. The annotation of Sri Madhusudan Saraswati, the author of Advaita Siddhi, though apparently devotional, really aims at monism in the long run. Though the annotation of Srila Ramanuja Acharya and Srila Madhva Acharya are purely devotional in character, still the relishing devotional aptitude of a Gauriya Vaishnava does not find an ecstatic delight in all those commentaries. There is therefore a need for a publication of annotation based on the doctrine of divine love as propounded by the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who alone may be truly called the real exponent of the Vedanta. The Sanskrit annotations of Srila Vishvanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Baladev Vidyabushan, the great author of Sri Govinda Bhasya, means commentary on Sri Brahma Sutras, and the Gauriya annotated edition of Srila Thakur Bhaktivinod of the Gita serve the above purpose. This again Tirtha Maharaj he added. In Bhaktivinod Thakur's introduction, only Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baladev Vidyabushan are mentioned as commentaries, including the pure love preached by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srila Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj, he added Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur. They will serve the above purpose. Now, it is here the Bhaktivinod Thakur's commentary ends. And now Srila Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj continues. Keeping this end in view, we have ventured to render those Sanskrit and Gauriya annotations into English with elaborate explanatory notes on the important shlokas of the text, following carefully the footsteps of the above named three Gauriya Vaishnava Acharyas, whose immortal works in the field of Vaishnava literature will ever remain enshrined in the heart of every sincere seeker after truth, as the self-effulgent beacon light guiding him in the path of pure devotion, which is always beset with myriads or myriads of thorns and obstacles. While I was preaching the doctrine of divine love in England as an humble servant of the Gauriya mission in 1933 till 1935, he was the first to be sent. Srila Bhakti Hridoy Bongosai Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj, and one brahmachari, Sambit Ananda Prabhu. At first, Prabhupada wanted to send our Parangurudev, you know, but then that objection came that he's very young and beautiful and ladies, they will want to enjoy him. So Prabhupada then changed and he sent him and two. So when he was preaching at that time in London, in England, I was inspired by my divine master, Om Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, to render the Sanskrit and the Gauriya annotations of the Gita into English, a work which had been left unfinished by my said divine master, now entered into Nitya Lila. Due to his infinite causeless mercy, I began this work in England, at first as a skeleton translation, which afterwards has taken the present form. I dedicate this humble work to the lotus palms of His Divine Grace, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajaka Acharya Ashtotarshata Shri Srimad Bhakti Prasad Puri Goswami Thakur, the present spiritual head of the Gauriya mission in apostolic succession, who has kindly approved and sanctioned its publication. In conclusion, I beg to submit that I shall be failing in my duty if I do not chant the following shlokas in praise of the divine song sung by the Supreme Lord Himself before introducing this humble work to the good sense of my benignant readers. Now there is Gita Mahatmya written by Shankaracharya. So this first verse is, he's not giving all verses. Gita Sugita Kartabhya Kim Anya Shastra Vistare Yaswayam Padmana Bhasya Mukha Padma Vinishrita. Our Gurudev also, when explaining Gita in Bangalore, he said this, that Gita should be, this divine song should always be sung with heart and soul. Gurudev said nicely it should be read, means with devotion to Supreme Lord, for His satisfaction only. What need is there for the various other texts when this song has emanated from the lotus mouth of the lotus navel, the Supreme Lord Himself? Then Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandana Parto Vatsah Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahat. All the Upanishads represent the milk cow, the son of Nanda, the milkman. Partha means Arjuna, the calf, and the truly wise, the drinker of this nectarian milk of divine song. So all Upanishads are cows which give milk, and Krishna is one who is milking them, and Arjuna is the calf, because when calf comes, then cow will have milk, will give milk. So in this way it is given. And the truly wise, the drinker of this nectarian milk of divine song, they are very intelligent. Partha Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahat. Sudhir means intelligent, wise. Then Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantras Tasya Namani Yani Karma Pekam Tasya Devasya Seva. Or Gurudev also, these three verses Gurudev also was explaining. The Shankaracharya wrote 7 verses, but these 3 are more important. The scripture means this Gita is one without a second, and that is the one song, one sung by the son of Devaki. Again, the scripture is one without a second, and that is the one sung by the son of Devaki. The Lord is undoubtedly one without a second, the self-same son of Devaki. The mantra is one without a second, and it is one and the same with his holy names. And work is also one without a second, and it aims at the service of the Supreme Lord. So one Shastra, which Shastra? Spoken by Krishna. One supreme object of worship is son of Devaki, Krishna. One mantra, his name, and one work, his seva. My thanks are due to Sri Radha Kanta Padi, Headmaster, Government Training School Gunu, Pur Ganjam, for going through the manuscripts, and to Dr. T.R. Chintamani, Senior Lecturer in Sanskrit, University of Madras, for going through the proof sheets. My thanks are also due to His Holiness Tridandi Swami Shripad Bhakti Keval Audolomi Maharaj for the English prose rendering and the literal translation of each shloka of each chapter of the book. Now, chapter 1. All glory to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Chapter 1. Arjun Bishada Yoga, or the dejection of Arjuna. Summary. When the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna placed the chariot in between the two belligerent armies, Arjuna, beholding his kith and kin and friends ready to give battle and sacrifice their lives, was exceedingly moved to pity. Failing in strength, his mind bewildered, his body trembling, hair standing on end, and hand losing hold of the Gandiva bow, he fell a victim to a drooping spirit and sat down in the chariot with a melancholy heart. Now I will have to read, because in this version only the Sanskrit letters are given for shloka, so I'm opening this one, so I can. Dhritarashtra Uvach Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsava Mamakah Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, what did my people and the Pandavas do when they, desirous of fighting, assembled in the sacred field of Kurukshetra? Sanjay Uvach Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Vyudam Duryodhanastada Acharjam Upa Sangamya Raja Vachanam Abravit. Sanjay replied, Your Majesty, when Duryodhan saw the troops of the Pandavas marshaled in a military array, he, the king, approaching the preceptor, means Dronacharya, said thus, Pashyaitam Pandu Putranam Acharjo Mahatim Chamum Vyudam Drupada Putrena Tava Shishena Dhimata. O Master, behold the great army of the Pandavas, which has been arrayed in a close formation by your intelligent disciple Drishtadyumna, the son of Drupada. Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharatha. Oh, he's giving fifth also. Drishtaketush Chekitana Kashirajascha Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bojascha Shaivyascha Nara Pungava Yudha Manyuscha Vikranta Utamau Jascha Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarva Eva Maharata. In this army there are great warriors who are none the less inferior to Bhima and Arjuna, such as the powerful Satyaki, Virata, the great warrior Drupada, Drishtaketu, Chekitana, the powerful king of Benares, Purujit, Kuntiboja, the famous Shaibya, the powerful Yudhamanyu, the heroic Utamaujas, Abhimanyu, son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. They are all Maharathas. Great warriors. Asmakam tu Vishishta ye tan niboda dvijotama Nayaka mama sanyasya sangyartam tan bravimi te. O chief of the Brahmins, means preceptor Dronacharya, know now I shall mention to you for your information the leaders on our side and commanders of my forces. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitim Jaya Ashwatthama Vikarnascha Somadatis Tataivacha. Anye cha Bahava Shura Mat Arte Tyakta Jivita Nana Shastra Praharana Sarve Yuddha Visharadaha. Besides the invincible warlords like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Vikarna, the son of Somadatta, Bhurishrava, and Jayadratha, there are countless other heroes who, adroit in fighting and well equipped with various offensive and defensive weapons, are ready to sacrifice their lives for my sake. Aparyaptam tat asmakam balam bhishma birakshitam paryaptam tvidam etesham balam bhima birakshitam. Our huge and strong forces, though protected by Bhishma, are not sufficient. But these limited forces of the Pandavas, under the command of Bhima, are sufficient. Now commentary comes to this 10th verse. Though our forces, under the supreme command of Bhishma, are by far greater than the limited troops of the Pandavas under the mighty lead of Bhima, and though Bhishma far excels Bhima in intelligence, experience, and in the knowledge of warfare, yet our forces are not competent enough to fight against the limited forces of the Pandavas, owing to the fact that Bhishma is equally well disposed towards both parties. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagam avastitah Bhishmam eva bhi rakshantu bhavantah sarva eva hi. Now it behooves you all to defend Bhishma alone from your respective phalanxes. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuru vridah pitamaha singhanadam vinadyoche shankam dadhamu pratapavan. Then the most powerful and highly dignified Bhishma, the aged grandfather of the Kurus, blew on his conch shell with a loud war cry in order to cheer Duryodhana up. Tatah shankascha beryascha panavanaka gomukha sahasaiva vyahanyanta sashabda stumulo bhavat. Then the sudden and simultaneous playing of conch shells, trumpets, and tabors, kettle drums, and large military drums, and other musical instruments of war gave rise to a tremendous sound. Tatah shveter hayer yukte mahati syandanestito madavah pandavaschaiva divyo shanko pradadmatuh. Thereupon Shri Krishna and Arjuna, seated on an excellent chariot drawn by white horses, blew on their respective divine conches. Pancha Janyam Hrishikesho Devadatam Dhananjaya Paundram dadmo mahashankam bhima karma vrikodara. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosha Mani Pushpako. Shri Krishna, the Lord of all senses, means Hrishikesh, and Arjuna blew on Panchajanya and Devadatta conches respectively. Bhima, the doer of awe-inspiring deeds, produced a terrific sound from his mighty conch known as Paundra. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, Nakul and Sahadev, blew on their respective conches, Ananta Vijay, Sughosha and Mani Pushpaka. Kashyascha Parameshu Asah Shikandi cha Maharata Drishtadyumno Viratascha Satyakish Chapa Rajitaha Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvashak Priti Vipate Saubadrascha Mahabahu Shankan Dadmuh Pritak Pritak. O Dhritarashtra, ruler of the earth, the dexterous archer, the king of Benares, the great warrior Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, and unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the 5 sons of Draupadi, and Abhimanyu, the mighty son of Subhadra, all these warriors blew their respective conches. Saghosho dharta rashtranam hridayani vyadarayat nabascha pritivim chaiva tumulo vyanu nadayan. The terrific sounds from these conch shells resounded on the earth and in the sky and began to break the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra with a thrill of horror. Atha vyavastitam drishtva dhartarashtran kapi dvaja pravrite shastra sampate dhanur udyam ya pandava hrishikesham tada vakyam idam aham mahipate. O your majesty, said Sanjay to Dhritarashtra, Arjuna seated in his monkey-bannered chariot, means Hanuman, beholding the warriors on the side of your sons, ready to give battle, and when flinging of weapons had almost started, lifting up his bow, told Shri Krishna these words. Arjuna Uvach Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratam Stapaya Mechuta Yavat Etan Niriksheham Yodhu Kaman Avastitan Kair Maya Saha Yodhavyam Asmin Arana Samudya Me Yotsyamanan Aveksheham Ya Etetra Samagata Dhartarashtrasya Durbudher Yude Priya Chikir Shava. Arjuna said, O Achyuta Krishna, do thou please place my chariot in between the 2 belligerent armies so that I may behold the parties come here to fight, and with whom I am to fight in this battle which will begin now. And observe those warriors who have assembled here to do what is pleasant to the evil-minded Duryodhana. Sanjay Uvach. Evam ukto Hrishikesho Gura Keshana Bharata Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Stapayitva Ratotamam. Bhishma Drona Pramukhata Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kurun iti. Sanjay said, O Bharata, thus told by Gurakesh, means Arjuna, Shri Krishna, who knew well the heart of Arjuna, placing that beautiful chariot in the midst of the armies of both the parties, and in front of Bhishma, Drona, and of all the other rulers of the earth, said, Behold, O son of Partha, the Kauravas assembled here to fight. Tatra pashyat stitan Partha Pitrin ata pitamahan Acharjan matulan bratrin Putran pautran sakinstatha Swashuran suhridaschaiva senayor ubhayor api. Arjuna beheld in the armies of both the parties his paternal uncles, grandfathers, preceptors, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, fathers-in-law, and well-wishers. Tan samikshya sa Kaunteya sarvan bandhun avastitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidan idam abravit. Thus, seeing his friends and relatives ready to fight in the battle, Arjuna, the son of Kunti, deeply moved to pity, spoke thus in grief. One second. Arjuna Uvach. Trishtvemam svajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupastitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishushyati. Arjuna said, O Krishna, seeing these, my friends and near relatives, anxious to fight, my limbs droop and my lips become parched. Vepatuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate gandhivam sram sate hastat tvak chaiva paridahyate. My body is trembling and my hair is standing on end. My hand is losing grip of the Gandhiva, my bow, and my skin is being scorched. Na cha shaknomi avastatum brahmativa cha me manah nimitani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. My strength is failing. My mind is bewildered. O Keshava, I am discerning ominous signs. Nacha shriyo nupashyami hatva svajanam ahave nakankshe vijayam Krishna nacharajyam sukhani cha. I do not find any good result. No, I do not find any good resulting from killing friends and relatives in the battle. O Krishna, I do not any longer crave for victory, nor have I any more ambition for enjoyment of kingdom. Kim no rajyena govinda, kim bhoger jivitena va, yesham arte kankshitam no, rajyam bhoga sukhani cha. Ta ime vastita yudhe pranam styaktva dhanani cha. Acharjah pitarah putras tateva cha pitamaha. Matulach shvashurah pautrah shyalah sambandhi nastata. Etan nahantu nichami gnato pi madhusudana. 3 verses, the translation will be together. O Govinda, the Lord of the function of all the senses, what need have we for a kingdom? What necessity for pleasures of our life? For all these preceptors, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, friends and relatives, for whose sake kingdom, enjoyments, and pleasures are worth having made up their minds to sacrifice their lives and wealth, are now ready to fight in this battle. O Madhusudan, I do not at all wish to kill them, even though I may be killed. So what is the use? It is for all this. It is meant for them. So here, explanation is given to these 3 verses. If do argue, that means Krishna, Arjuna telling to Krishna, if you would argue that even at the cost of my own life, I should fight for gaining kingdom, wealth, and happiness for my own friends, even then, under the present circumstances, it is not certain whether all those for whom I am to seek such happiness will survive, as they are assembled here to fight. If thou holdest that I should clear out all enemies for the safety and prosperity of the kingdom, even then I am not inclined to adopt such inhuman and brutal process of manslaughter. If again it is argued that I should kill none but the sons of Dhritarashtra, who have put us to unaccountable series of troubles and tribulations, even then, what peace can the Pandavas hope to achieve when, after the first flash of a glorious victory is over, the very memory that they had killed their own men will be agonizing to them? But should anybody be killed, it can be done by thee only, as thou art the creator, preserver, and destroyer of the world. No sin or piety can touch thee. Hence, the taking of the lives of all those that have assembled here does not concern me. api trailokya rajyasya hetoh kim nu mahi krite nihatya dhartarashtra na ka pritih syad janardana. O Janardan, not to speak of this world, even for attaining the lordship of the three worlds, what pleasures can we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Papam eva shred asman hatvaitam ata tayinah tasman narha vayam hantum dhartarashtran sa bandhavan swajanam hi katham hatva sukhinah syama madhava. We will only be sinners by killing these perpetrators of arson. Arson means when you put fire to some house. Poisoning, robbery, etc. Because all these things they were doing to the Pandavas. We therefore ought not to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra with their friends and relatives. O Madhava, how shall we be happy by killing our kith and kin? Yadi api etena pashanti lo bho pahata chetasa kulakshaya kritam dosham mitra drohe cha patakam katham nageyam asmabhi papat asman nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyadbir janardana. Though blind with greed, this Duryodhan and his friends fail to realize the guilt accruing from killing kith and kin and the sin from malice to friends and relatives. O Janardhan, why should we, to whom the sin of destruction of kith and kin is obvious, not desist from such vicious attempts? O Janardhan means Krishna. Why should we, to whom the sin of destruction of kith and kin is obvious, they are not seeing. They wanted to kill them many times, Duryodhana and his brothers. They are, because of greed, for them, it is, they fail to realize the guilt. No conscience. They don't think it is anything bad. But why we, who see that killing kith and kin relatives is sin, we see it is sin, it is obvious to us. So why we should not desist from such vicious attempts? We see it is sin, so we should not do this. Arjuna is giving all arguments why for this. So tomorrow we'll further hear, but we will see that these arguments of Arjuna, these hesitations, were all based on material attachments, not actual eternal welfare for all, but material attachments. So Krishna will cut through this for the welfare of all.